never forget what Amanda Seales tried to do to Dr. Myron Rolle. Amanda Seales lied on Dr. Myron Rolle to try to get him kicked out of a neurosurgeon program after his transition out of football. Amanda Seales is diametrically opposed to the progress and advancement of black men. She is a communist berserker. She is probably, besides Candace Owens, one of the most psychotic people to ever have a media platform. Okay? And I've known some psychotic people. I've known some people who get on social media, who get on, who get these platforms, and they act like complete nut jobs. Okay? Amanda Seales is not only the type of person that Hillary Tubman would have pew-pewed, she is your Africana Studies favorite comedian, which means she's not funny. She has quite a vile character, and she can be reliably depended upon to be a whore for the machine state.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your man Wise. I appreciate you guys pulling up, man. I got a couple clips to share with you guys. We gotta talk about it, man. Amanda Seales, 20 versus 1, black conservatives versus Amanda Seales. Now, I will say this. She didn't really look too comfortable in the space, and you could tell just by her reaction and the way that she held her body language, so forth and so on, that she's used to being in echo chambers. She's not used to being in rooms with people that are going to push back with facts, data, statistics, and opinions that most liberals, and I know she gets on here and says that she's not a liberal, but let's just keep it a buck. She is. She's definitely a communist, all about the socialists, so forth and so on. You could tell she didn't handle this well. Like, share, subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on to all. Watch the video all the way through. Let's get into it.
So why is that fair for people who never had slaves, who fought against slavery, to have to pay for people that had slaves?
One, from my understanding, you are more interested in preserving the fairness of those who didn't have slaves than the fairness of those who are the descendants of slaves. That is priority to you than finding a fair way to accommodate those who have been the descendant of slaves.
Well, our ancestors wasn't asking for handouts. They were asking for equal opportunity. And we have equal opportunity in this country. We had a black president, just in case you didn't know. We had a black president and we had a black vice president. I mean, I think she was black. They said she was black. I don't know. So we had a black president, and you know who voted for that black man? White people, because you can't win a popular election in this country without white people. So Barack Obama is the product of white people. So let's get off this thing where, oh, America is so racist. What's making America so racist is people that continue to talk about racism and continue to focus on racism instead of focusing on unity and bringing our country forward. People that have these liberal mindset are infecting our communities, black people, and making us victims and not victors. I refuse to embrace a victim mentality, because that's not what our grandparents and Harriet Tubman and those people fought for. They fought for equal opportunity.
Do not bring up Harriet Tubman's name in vain, baby, please.
They said the Lord's name in vain. The Lord's name.
I wanted to slide this in real quick because the great Thomas Sowell said that racism is not dead, but it's on life support, kept alive by politicians, race hustlers, and people who get a sense of superiority by denouncing others as racist. And I'm with the great Dr. Thomas Sowell. I am with him 100%. We're going to get back to the video.
The Lord's name.
Harriet Tubman was literally saving her family and others from slavery.
Yeah.
Harriet Tubman saved 60 people. Y'all saw the fact check pop up before I could even get it out. But she saved 60 people. Now, I'm not saying that to denigrate what Harriet Tubman accomplished, because the reality of it is she also said that, hey, I could have saved a whole heck of a lot more. You know what I'm saying? But you had a lot of black folks that didn't want to be saved. Just saying. And unfortunately, we still got a lot of that going on right now.
You know who helped her? White people.
You know who helped her?
They were on the Underground Railroad.
No,
Come on in.
No,
come
you
on
know
in.
who helped her?
Come on in.
No, you know who helped her?
God and Harry.
People who benefit from white supremacy. One of the things
It's a lie. White supremacy is a lie.
No, sir,
It's
that's
a
simply
lie.
not
There's
true.
no such. I mean,
if that were not the case, then we wouldn't see the continued effort of colonial.
So wait, the people who helped Harriet Tubman in the Underground Railroad are the people that wanted to continue to push white supremacy. I mean, he's one of those people that Dr. Thomas Sowell was talking about.
And white people placing themselves in positions of power
You
when
know
they
why
do
they're
not
in
have the
position of
power.
power? Because
Let
their
me hear
culture, black culture, is toxic. The black culture is toxic. We have produced a culture that is toxic. And let's get on the fact that there's no fathers
So
in
white
the black
culture
home.
That wasn't always the case. That wasn't always the case. Black culture wasn't always toxic. I wouldn't even 100% say that black culture is toxic. I think there is a subset of black culture that is toxic. The problem is that those of us that don't really get on with that, we either don't speak against it or we speak for the people because we feel like, hey, they black. We're not going to let you talk about these people. And that's a lot of the problem. No other group of people in the country are bigging up, you know what I'm saying, the worst of them. You know what I'm saying? You just don't see it. You don't see Asian people bigging up the Asian gang members like that. You know, you just don't see it. You know, we're the few. You know what I'm saying? We're actually the only demographic of people that actually count everybody as the same, and we big up the lowest amongst us. You know what I'm saying? And it just doesn't make sense. We celebrate the lowest amongst us.
Stop.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
None of this is gonna work if y'all are just gonna sit here and make up shit.
It's
not gonna work. No, a debate has to be in facts.
You're
You
putting
are
off
literally
emotional liberalism
I am
right
not
now.
putting off emotional liberalism. You're putting off
He hit the nail on the head right there. Emotional liberalism. As soon as he brought up fathers needing to be in a home and the need of the nuclear family, you see how she lost it. There's a lot of liberals out there that believe that dads don't matter. They believe that the nuclear family isn't important, and they believe that they would be better off without God's divine order. And they're absolutely wrong. They are 1,000% wrong in that thought process.
founded lies
That's what y'all
based
do. Y'all
in
start saying
conservatism.
misinformation. Remember they
It
did the
is
misinformation thing all summer where everything
Look at this
conservatives
man.
did. They said
You're carrying a chain around your neck of an apartheid nation that actively wants to harm black people and non-Jewish people. But let me bring it back. Let me bring it back.
Selling black people
Let me
in
bring
Africa
it. That was not happening in the context that you're saying.
And they were selling
Let's
their own
bring it
people.
back.
Black people still sell their own people today too. By
I don't
the
know
way,
if I'm gonna last.
We're selling our own people today too.
I don't know if I'm gonna last.
You probably won't last with me.
I won't because your ignorance is so overwhelming.
See, that's liberals. Y'all start name calling when y'all getting defeated in an argument.
You won't have an argument because you keep cutting me off.
Oh, well, that's fine. If they don't let me come back up, I made my point.
You didn't make your point.
I made my point.
You haven't
and
made your
I'm okay
point.
with being
And let me
voted
just
out.
tell you about your point. You started off saying, we believe in hard work.
Yeah.
And we believe in being compensated.
Reparations is not, though. Reparations is not hard work. It's stealing. It's Robin Hood.
You said you believe in hard work.
Yes.
And you believe in being compensated for hard work.
Yes.
Were slaves compensated for their work?
They weren't compensated for their work. But why should people who are sitting at home playing video games, smoking marijuana,
Are you sitting at
be
home
giving
playing a video game?
checks?
Are
But
you
no, the
sitting at
people that
home
they-
playing a video game?
The people that they're wanting
Am I
reparations
sitting at home
for-
playing a video game? No.
John Hope Bryant, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with him. I'm almost certain that, he would consider himself a liberal or at least someone that supports the Democrat Party. But when he was asked about reparations, he himself said that it's not feasible. When the people that have done these studies and they put out these numbers, the number would be so astronomical that essentially it would bankrupt the nation. We're talking trillions upon trillions of dollars, right? If you actually gave out reparations and it bankrupts the nation, what good is the money? If the nation is bankrupt, the dollar value drop. What difference does it matter if you received $50,000, $100,000 in reparations or whatever the case may be? What difference would it matter? and providing that to people that are financially illiterate, don't know much about finance and so forth and so on. That money, it would essentially be gifted back to the powers that be in 6 months to a year, and the people would probably be in a worse position than they're already in. Let's just keep it above. And I'm one of those kind of people that, hey, if a reparations check is ever cut, I would take my check. I am a quote unquote foundational Black American, my family lineage right here from the United States, but it's not going to happen. And I don't live my life thinking that it's going to happen or hoping that it happens. You know, I'm focused on the now and I'm focused on reality. So you got a lot of folks out there that for whatever reason, they believe that this is going to happen and it's not. And I'm sure there are going to be people in the comment section, you a tether babble, you hate your own, so forth and so on. Nah, that's not true. But you know what I'm saying? I love you enough to tell you that, one, it's not going to happen. Stop focusing on it and focus on what you can actually control. We got a Congressional Black Caucus. They not planning on doing anything. We've had a Black president, never even broached the subject. We've got a plethora of senators and people in the House of Representatives. They haven't broached the subject. Your favorite Congresswoman, she hadn't put one bill up to the House to even be voted on, to be voted down. As much as she talks about white supremacy and this, that, and the third, she could have tossed a bill up there, even if it got shot down, just to say, hey, see, I told you, I tried. But they won't. They dangle this carrot, they play in a lot of folks' faces, and a lot of it is just to keep you docile, and it's to keep you from not actually striving and working towards forging your way in this capitalistic society that we live in. And that's the thing that I do appreciate about John Hope Bryant, is that he is trying to give people a way to make it and take advantage of the opportunities that exist right here in America. That doesn't involve waiting on a reparation check. That's never going to happen. It's never coming. It's just not.
Look at rap. Look at what we're glorifying.
Right.
We're glorifying violence.
Who's we? Wait, who's we? Who's we? Who's
the Black community.
Who controls the
Black community?
Who controls the distribution of these sources of media?
And who takes it in?
And
who takes it in?
Listen, if you're okay, so let me put it in this context. If I have a company, right, and you guys are my employees, and I determine what you get to eat every day, that's also going to determine how you exist in this company, right? Like if you come to work and I say the only thing you can eat is processed foods and fried foods, and you're not going to get to.
That's a terrible analogy. That's actually against the law to do. Terrible analogy. But when it comes to the music industry, and they always want to point the finger at the companies that distribute, the companies that sign these artists, the companies that push this music out to the masses. They always want to point the finger back instead of saying, nah, the real sellouts are the people that choose to write and produce this type of music for a check. You know what I'm saying? You got entirely too many rappers out here taking that 30 piece of silver to sell out their own community, to push music that they know will damage the community, to push music that they know, you know what I'm saying, that has exacerbated the path to prison. We know that these companies own, the same companies that own the music labels. They also own the private sector prisons. Everybody knows this. At this point now, everybody has probably known this at least for 20 years, but yet you still have people signing up, willing to sign on that dotted line and sign their life away for a couple dollars, you know what I'm saying, to push music that denigrates the women and that tells the young men, you know what I'm saying, to off themselves. I mean, it's self-hatred at its finest. But yet you get someone like this that wants to say, blame the companies instead of blaming the people, because the reality of it is there is a long list of SoundCloud, YouTube, and Instagram rappers out there hoping that they can get signed that are willing to rap this type of music. Let's just keep it a buck. There is a long list of women out there right now. They come out on a day-to-day basis that are willing to talk about some of the most ratchet and most debaucherous things in their music. There's a long list of people. Now, yeah, the companies could say, hey, we're not signing people like this anymore. But what we also know is that that long list of people that want to push this type of just ratchetness, there's no shortage of them. There's no shortage of them. So you blame the company, but you don't blame the people that are willing to sell out their own people, sell out themselves. I mean, it doesn't make sense, man.
Have the best vegetables, etc. What's that going to affect? Your health, that's going to affect your ability to operate, etc. This is how the United States operates. There's a lot of us that don't want to admit that as much as accountable as we want to be, all of our brains also don't operate the same way. Some of us are much more apt to be indoctrinated than others. That's a fact. There is a 1% of people that knows this. There's a whole show called Mad Men that's about advertising, etc. And if we don't acknowledge multiple things at the same time, then we simply cannot stop it. We can be as accountable as we want to be. And I hope that if you're right, because I hope you're right, I wish that it was a situation where if black people could just be accountable, then nothing else would matter. But unfortunately, that hasn't been the case, because we have seen when we have Black Wall Street in Tulsa and we have Black Wall Street in Durham, that when we actually do hold our own and build our own communities, they will still come and run it down.
We got to keep talking about something that happened over 100 years ago. You know what I'm saying? There are some people down in Georgia that just bought some land or creating a town called Freedom Town. I hadn't heard anybody want to go down there and tear or burn anything down. I hadn't heard anything about it. You know what I'm saying? There's still businesses. You know, the Atlanta Life Insurance Company still exists today. Black owned, operated. Tuskegee University still exists today. Black founded, black run, black operated. You look at your HBCUs, I don't see white folks who want to burn those down. They're actually just codified more money for these places, these institutions. What are we talking about here in 2025? I understand that the country has a past, and the past, you know, somewhat dark. I'm not saying, and I'm not refuting that. But why do we keep bringing up things from 100 years ago and acting like that still holds true today? No one's stopping you from doing anything that you want to do. No one's stopping black people from pooling resources together and buying up blocks in the communities that they live in. No one's stopping them from doing it. Why is it a situation to where people like this, who say that they despise white people and white supremacy, but they're looking for white people to do something for them? It just doesn't make sense. It's such an oxymoron, man.
So I think I'm coming from a place, and I guess my issue is having had my biological father murdered by a black man, having had my cousin shot in the head by a black man. We can talk numbers and statistics and what the people are doing, what the white man is doing and all that. But at the end of the day, I see, when my family lives on the south side of Chicago, and I think you and I both can attest to this, and I'm not saying that there are not other factors, but we know that we kill each other at a disproportionate rate than any other race. Now, why we do that, and why 6,000 to 9,000 black men are going to be homicided or killed or whatever by the end of the year annually by other black men, whereas the likelihood of a black man being killed by a white police officer is less than 150 per year, we know that we kill each other at a higher rate. So I'm not...
He was off on the numbers. But still, there's no comparison to from what happens with the police. And I'm not saying that that is right. I'm just letting it be known that she was off with the numbers. But when you compare it to what's going on in Baltimore, Memphis, St. Louis, DC, New Orleans, Chicago, Detroit, Oakland, we can keep going. Yeah, it's not even close. It's not even close.
Debating that there are not factors at play, but because I've lived the experience as a black woman losing my father to be murdered by a black man, walking down the street,
by the way.
No worries, thank you. But walking down the street in inner cities and different things, knowing that it's more likely that my own brother will rob and rape me than a white man or a white officer, we got to be real.
What's your proximity to white men in the south side of Chicago? Are there even white men around to rob and rape you at the same rate that there are black men?
There are white men around.
At the same rate?
There wasn't a lot of black people in there, but then that doesn't justify the fact that we're destroying each other. So even if we get to the root, like
we can agree on that,
okay, because I feel like a lot of
nothing
times
justifies.
like, well,
I'm not a liberal.
I'm
not a liberal.
Okay, well, I will say that people that sometimes have your stance that are against conservatives, maybe they have this claim that they're making it up, they're making up the numbers. We know that we do that to each other. So I want to get to the root of the issue. Why are we killing each other? I think the root of the issue is we've lost our values and we've lost our resilience as black people. We sit there and we talk about what the white man did and we talk about slavery and everything like that, but we have no self-accountability and say, you know what, at the end of the day, that is my black grandmother, that is my black sister, you are my black sister, and you know that a black man is more likely to rob you or commit some type of crime against you, and that's what we need to get down to the issue of. And like you were talking about earlier, like, hey, well, what's...
One of the major issues is that, and she didn't say it, I don't know if she's a follower of Christ or if she's a Christian, but we've a lot of us, unfortunately, have turned away from God. We've turned away from God's divine order. We've turned away from the true and living word of God. You know what I'm saying? There was a time that the things that happened in our communities did not happen. You know what I'm saying? I mean, through Jim Crow era and through the redlining where we had to live on our side of town, we didn't have the type of issues that we have today. There wasn't as many robins, shootings, carjackings, burglaries. We didn't do that to each other back then. Where there was a sense of community, there was a sense of pride, there was a lot of love, self-love. And we've turned away. We've turned away from God, man. And what we're seeing right now is a population that is ungodly. Let's just keep it a buck. And then when you have situations to where, we have a lack of fathers in the home, we have a lack of nuclear households, nuclear family households with mom, dad raising the children. And what we do understand is that when you have a community that are full of nuclear families, these are some of the most safest places in the country. And when you have a community full of children being raised by single mothers, these are the most dangerous places and the poorest places in the country. So how can we not look at that and say, okay, hey, there is a direct one-to-one correlation there? That if we can some kind of way figure out how to get the black man and the black woman together, back on the same page, you know what I'm saying? Worshiping, praising, loving on each other, raising these children together, things would change dramatically in a lot of these communities. I wholeheartedly believe it.
Going on, what do you think the answer is to one of the brothers that were speaking? I think it's the breakdown of the family. I think, like he said, because of our poor choices, and what happens is we look at domestic violence, for example. When domestic violence, women or men are even attacked, what is the first thing we say? It's like, you know what? It's not your what? It's not your fault. So that's what we do. We hold on to this narrative that, well, it's not our fault, and the issues in our community, they're not our fault, and the white man needs to give us something. The old white lady down the street is looking at me, and I don't know why she got braids in her hair. And we focus on all these other stupid things that don't matter. We don't get to the root of the fact that we're killing each other at a higher rate than any other race. It is self-hatred amongst us. I believe that we can do that. That my cousin, my mom's cousin, coming from the church parking lot, and guess who stuck her up and robbed her at gunpoint? A black man.
I need you to get to the point. So
my
I can
point
respond.
is that and I'm not trying to be funny. Unless, like you said, we're gonna keep it respectful.
Yeah, but you're monopolizing the whole conversation.
I'm
not
trying.
being
Okay, I'm
able
gonna let
to...
you speak, but let's not.
I would say that she was actually respectful of this young lady, but again, she doesn't hold men in a high esteem. So she's more willing to go back and forth with men, and challenge men than she is women. You kind of see this, in her behavior and the way she went. That was a respectful conversation. But this young lady, I can't disagree with anything that she said there, to be honest with you.
The truth is, in my Amanda Seal debate, she was the worst Jubilee surprise guest probably that they had. She was the stereotypical black woman. She was angry. She was nasty. She threatened to have people removed off. There was one black conservative who's known who was removed because she yelled at people several times. She threatened about 5 or 6 times. She was a diva. 6 or 7 times she threatened to leave. Now, I'm thankful for the opportunity, thankful for getting to sit down with her. I respect her for what she's accomplished. But as a person, I have no respect for her. She was very disrespectful to me because I believe I destroyed her in my first, to start off, and she didn't want to talk to me again. And I wouldn't want to talk to me because she can't beat me in a debate. A real debate where she's not yelling, she could not beat me because the facts are on my side. I don't care how much they lie and try to act like they aren't. I love black people and I love myself. But, if you're black and you have a difference in opinion in the black community, you don't love yourself, and because we're the only race they can't have. But that's the truth. She was the worst Jubilee guest celebrity person there was, and none of the black conservatives liked her at the end. Like Candace Owens, Jordan Peterson, all the conservative, respectful. They treated other people's opinion with respect, not her.
Yeah, she was overly emotional for sure. Again, I go back and I say, I don't think that she is used to being around conservators or people that have a difference of opinion. Obviously, she's in that Hollywood world, and it's a lot of echo chambers that these people live in. But let's check out what ABL had to say about it.
So this is me on the episode of Jubilee, 20 Black Conservatives versus 1 Black Radical, featuring Amanda Seales. Now, a lot of y'all are asking me, hey, ABL, how was your experience? How was Amanda Seales? All this, that, and the third. First things first, shout out to Jubilee. They're very, very professional. We shot this back in June of this year, 2025, in Los Angeles. So it was a Hollywood style environment, and it was very well choreographed as far as the format. But what was not choreographed was our responses. Whatever you heard came straight from us. There was no coaching from Jubilee at all. And shout out to everybody who I met when I was there. Very, very impressive. That was the highlight for me. Everybody who I met, all the conservatives, because 10 years ago, this wouldn't have been a thing. This many of us on TV getting exposure, it wouldn't have been a thing. And it most certainly was unheard of back in 2002 when I was 18 years old. So shout out to everybody who I met when I was there. Amazing. Now, Amanda Seales, what was my experience like with her? First thing first, let's go back. She was actually a child star on Nickelodeon, if you didn't know, and her moniker back then was Amanda Diva. And when she came into this set, I saw some of the diva energy immediately. First of all, you got a big, huge security guard. I'm 6'3". This guy is way above me, dwarfing me. And she had like a cup of coffee and an iPad for some reason. We could not have our phones, but she had an iPad. I don't understand why, but I saw the diva energy immediately. And her tactic throughout the entire time was, if she got back into a corner and they got a little bit heated with the back and forth, she would threaten to leave. She was doing that at the very beginning. If you saw the clip, she was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it. So right then she was trying to set boundaries to say, okay, don't interrupt me, don't cut me off. But she would cut you off and interrupt you and it'd be totally fine. So it was hypocritical. Also, there was a point where she was trying to say, oh, well, since you're an immigrant or the son of immigrants, you can't speak on Black American issues. Meanwhile, her mom is from Grenada. So it was like, you're the exact thing you're trying to say can't talk about Black American issues, yet here you are talking about Black American issues. And then back to the whole diva thing. The reason why they probably call her a radical versus a liberal is because she probably requested that. There were certain times where we would say, well, we as conservatives don't do what you guys do over there on the left. I'm not a leftist. I'm not a liberal. It's like, okay, whatever you want to call it. Radical, leftist, liberal, all the same thing. You're talking about Gaza, trying to help them. We don't care about that. We care about us here in the US of A. So she wasn't a terrible person. I tried to be nice and have some kind of decent communication with her. I gave her a fist bump at one point. So she wasn't terrible, but just being able to talk to her and having conversations about these kind of things, it was pretty insufferable, but I hope y'all enjoyed it.
Yeah. I thought ABL did fine, on the show. I know a lot of people, were like, he could have went harder. He could have, but it is what it is, at this point. I think he wanted to be respectful, I would assume. If you hadn't watched the entire video or show, I think you should go and check it out for yourself. I want to hear from you guys in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe, turn the notifications on to all so you never miss an upload. Join the ARP family, buy you some merch, get you one of those Pray Don't Worry t-shirts, get you one, get you two, one for you, one for someone else as a gift. Appreciate you guys, appreciate the support, the love. Join us Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for ARP in the morning. You want to support the channel financially, join the ARP family, or you can buy your brother a coffee. Link in the description box below. Keep God first, stay prayed up. We'll catch up with you all. Y'all take care. Peace.
We won't stop. I won't quit. Stand for the truth. No counterfeit. Real ones rise. Let the fake ones split. Repent for the lies. Let the darkness live.